we want to make sure when we reconnect with a client that they get the experience we intend them to have. And guess what? When they get that experience that we intend them to have, because we listened to what their needs are and we delivered on it, that builds retention. More importantly, that builds loyalty.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Golden Wrench Podcast, where I get to talk to anybody and everybody that I want to talk to when it comes to the fixed ops side of the business. I got a hell of a guest today. Actually, I've been looking forward to this because there's some killer topics that we're going to be going over today. But hey, we can't make great content like this without our amazing sponsor. And here's a quick message from that sponsor. For years, I've been saying that you have to process your way to profitability, and no one knows that better than the folks at Repair 360. You all know how important it is to have a fast, streamlined used car reconditioning process. Remember, time kills profit. Getting a used car frontline ready in less time while providing transparent communication between departments is what Repair 360 is all about. With Repair 360's automated used car recon manager, you will drive recon times down while giving sales the visibility they need to stop complaining. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding about that part. Anyways, you have to check out their website at repair360.com and see how they can revolutionize your reconditioning process. All right, guys, I was telling you, I got an amazing guest. You're sitting in the backstage right now. I am so excited. I have the one, the only, the oh so famous Coach Joe with me. Joe, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And what a great introduction. Feel like a movie star, right? Where's the red carpet? This is awesome.
Man, we roll it out for people. That's what we do here. We just roll it out, right? We don't call it the golden wrench for nothing, right?
That's true. We should have said golden
royalty,
carpet, right?
I got Fixed Ops royalty with me today, guys. Look at this. Here it is, Coach Joe, Fixed Ops royalty.
Yeah, really excited to be on. So thanks for having me. We got some great topics, like you said, and nothing more passionate about providing insight to dealers, or at least content that adds value to them.
100%. And again, I'm so glad that you were able to take the time to come jam with me. Here's what I'd like to do, Joe. I love kicking off these podcasts with a little origin story. Because I got to be honest, I'm fundamentally fascinated how people just kind of either stumble their way or fall into the business or get caught, whatever it is. Let's start there, Joe. How did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Yeah, I don't think my story is any more unique than most of your guests. I stumbled upon the automotive business. Actually, I was selling Kirby vacuums. We came from a lower income family, and I had to make a way. I had to find a way. How am I going to pay for a college? How am I going to work myself through my education? And then my parents said, you can't sell vacuums. If you're going to sell anything at all, go sell cars. At least do something that is going to create enough revenue. So I was fortunate. I got a job, within the next day, had no clue, like everybody that joins the business, kind of like, hey, here's the job. There's the keyboard. Customers will come in, do your best to help them out. And that was my early foray. And I spent about 30 years, give or take, in the automotive industry, particularly in the sales and fixed ops side. I worked my way through as a sales representative and operated a very successful Honda store for 17, 18 years. And then I worked for a couple of smaller dealer groups. And about 10 years ago, I entered a different side of the business, and I joined an organization that is national, well over 100 stores. They are a provider of accessible equipment and vehicles that are designed for customers that have disabilities. So I ran the service operations with a group of team members. I say ran, I use that term liberally, right? So I was a support person for 100 stores across the nation.
Wow.
In the fixed operations side, solely focused on the operations. And more recently, I joined Traver Connect, which I'm really excited to. John Traver and I connected, and we did a similar podcast show, and we just had a connection. And I saw a vision. He's made it clear what that vision looks like. It aligns with me. I'm a people person. I'm all about people. And that's why I go by the acronym Coach Joe. I really believe in people, right?
I
So
love it.
that led me to Traver Connect, and that's where I am right now. My role currently is the executive vice president. I just call it the executive coach, right? My job is to help
Executive coach.
other people do their job better.
You know what? And I love the fact that you really kind of own the coach, right? Because I think there's so much positivity and but also dedication and commitment to being a coach. You know, you can't just be a coach.
Absolutely.
You got to have the experience, the patience, the emotional intelligence, and you know, I got to be honest with you. When I first started in the business, that was not me. Now, maybe over the years, I've gotten a little bit better. All right, but that definitely wasn't me. I was very much so what this industry kind of is like, you know, suck it up, buttercup, check it at the door. I don't need your crap here, you know, and I would say maybe over the years I got a little better. It took me until one day where it was one Christmas. I had a service advisor in me who worked for me. She was a wonderful individual. She crocheted me a pillow that said "Shut the up and get back to work." And I realized maybe I used that term so much that it made sense to crochet it into a pillow. Now, the reason I'm sharing this for you is because it's a part of our first topic. We're going to get into leadership in service. And Joe, I am the first one to admit to you that when I first got into that side of the business, I was a horrible, horrible leader. Now, I had a great person, a great coach, you know, that did mentor me and really got me out of that. But let's get into this. And I know John is probably going to be watching this and he's going to be jealous because we got our podcast first. And we're going to do, I'll
Yeah.
record another one with John later.
Right. Yeah, listen, like you, I worked in an environment where command and control was the way that we did business. It was, I didn't ask you for your opinion. This is what your opinion is. Do what you're supposed to do. You know, to your analogy, just shut up and go back to work. Your opinion didn't matter. And, you know, I was a horrible leader, manager. Actually, I wasn't even a leader, I was a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Those skill sets take a long time to develop. And listen, like you, we all have a mentor. We all have someone who said, you know what, there is a better way. There's a more effective approach to leading teams. There's a more effective coach process where we are teaching the fundamentals. You know, I think John Maxwell said it best, right? When you think about fundamentals, people think it's simple, it's
Yes.
basic, it doesn't really apply. But the reality is the fundamentals are what drive our business. It's the activities that we produce every day that the byproduct is better results. You and I started the conversation
Mm-hmm.
online about culture,
Well,
right?
it's that process, right? I mean, and I think that's where you're going here. And I do want to actually kind of dive into this because, you know, I think often we do kind of say, let's fundamentals. What's the one that I hear a lot? Let's get back to basics.
Back to basics.
Right, back to basics, Joe. You know what? But I don't know, especially with a lot of the industry right now being as new as they are to the industry. I heard a stat recently that in the service department, over 60% of advisors, all right, and even service managers have been in the business less than 2 years, like in the actual automotive business for less than 2 years. So we make this comment, let's get back to basics. I don't know if they know what the basics are. So let's actually do this because I'm totally with you. Fundamentals and those processes. When we say fundamentals, I think we're alluding to those processes. What are those processes that make good leaders?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of dichotomy here, right? When we think about process, we only think about, you know, getting from point A to point B, right?
Mhm. True.
And fundamentally, process is how do I really deliver on the customer experience? What is my culture say that I want to create so that I can deliver on the customer experience? You mentioned 60% of people are new. Where are they learning the fundamentals? It's kind of the, you know, I grew up in a family that you may not have experienced, but if you did, you'll understand. We had hand-me-downs. And by the time it got to you, it was well worn. That's process. So many people inherit processes that are well worn.
Good
They
point.
assume that it's, you know, one size fits all. That this is going to this is the way we did it. And so my dad did it this way, his dad did it this way. So it must be right.
Mm-hmm.
Times change. Is the individual dealer identifying what their culture says they should be by really listening to the customer? Because the customer is going to dictate what that outcome is. So, first, understand what your customer demands are. Everyone is different, but there's a feel for, and we'll talk about this later, but there's a real feel for the idea that repair order counts are down in
Mm-hmm.
customer pay. Why is that? Is it the experience? Because truly, operators, dealers understand that pricing in and of itself is only one piece of the big puzzle. So let me get back to the point I'm trying to make.
Sure.
When you are thinking about process, map it out. Understand, right? Begin with the end in mind. We've all heard Stephen
Yes.
Covey talk about that. Begin with the end in mind and then clearly define your process. I coach a lot of, or was coaching a lot of GMs and managers of dealerships. And one of the things I would always identify, wait, let's start by identifying what the customer experience is supposed to be like from their set of eyes.
Yes.
And then define that process, literally map it out and define, okay, how do I get from point A, because I know what the end of mind is, to point B?
Well, and I think that's what good leadership is, right? Because it's I find that if you're going to call yourself a leader, really what you're saying is you're intentional about creating a great experience, not only just for your customers, but Joe, and I love the fact that you bring up like map out. What does this look like? How does this feel? What does this smell like? But I even say go even farther. Map out what your staff experience should be, because I don't know. I had an aha moment, and I'm sure you probably have seen this as well. That once I actually started focusing on my staff's happiness, it was crazy to see how that spilt over into the customer happiness and the customer experience. But I'd love to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm going to start by, because you gave me a great segue. You didn't even know this, but I'm going to start by something I really believe in. Leadership grows when wisdom is sown with intention, fed by curiosity, and harvested through decisive action. What do I mean by that? It means when you're intentional, you're curious about how to improve, how to make it better, then you take action. All of a sudden, all of these elements begin to come together. When team members are disconnected, disengaged, unenthusiastic, right?
Mhm.
Actively get disengaged. They are because they're confused. They're not tied to the why, right?
Exactly.
And for many dealers, their why is the stakeholder,
Of course.
right? But that is a byproduct of the real why. I love the analogy that Simon Sinek put together, right? When you start with those three circles: why, what, and how. And as a coach, your job is to allow people to become and utilize their genius. When
Hmm.
you align them with a why, they find better ways. They aren't restricted by, we use the old theory that um, this is a sacred cow. We can't get rid of this because this worked in the past.
Hmm.
We looked at, for example, maybe you're measuring a key metric that you've looked at forever, but doesn't have any relevancy today. So by identifying that, by really harvesting the action, you actually get better results. And then all of a sudden, everyone comes to you for solutions. Listen, I don't
Oh,
know about you, but I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Everyone knows how to do the job. It's a matter of how to allow them to use their unique talents to do it even better. That's
well,
what I think. Good coach.
you're 100% right, and I think as an industry, we're very good about sharing with our staff and our advisors, what our why or what our objectives are. In fact, we're really, really good at that part, but, once you're able to crack into their why and connect their why to your why, like some magical stuff happens. And I'll give you a quick, funny example. I remember I had a service advisor, young gentleman who was working with me, and he just kind of checking in and checking out, and I just kind of finally just pull him off to the side and just, I'm just like, look, let's have a chat. Take him out to lunch. Went out to lunch, right? And I'm just like, come to find out, like, why are you doing what you're doing? Because I know what you do, but I don't know why you do it the way you do it, right? And he was kind of figuring out what the heck I was even talking about, right? And I was trying to figure out kind of what motivated him. And it through a little bit of conversation, I come to find out that he's trying to save up money for a jet ski. That was his why. Like he's like, well, I've been trying to save up money for a jet ski, but based on how much money I'm making right now, it's going to be after summer by the time I even get it. Right. And I'm like, okay, wait, let me reverse engineer this for you real quick. You want the jet ski when? July? Okay. Let me just take your current pay structure. I'm going to show you what you need to do to effectively get what you need to ultimately do that. And it was something very simple as that. Now I don't know for anybody out there watching, listening, they're way more complicated, whys than the one I'm talking about here. It's not always going to be as simple as like, I want a jet ski, but for this particular kid, it was. And sure as hell, I'm telling you, that kid was on fire. All right. The 90 days after that, he was on fire. All right. And the day he pulled up was his day off to wash his brand new jet ski. The grin on his face was just, and of course the grin on my face was just, and just the level of energy, but that's intentional leadership through connecting the whys. I just wanted to share that as an example.
Yeah, I love that story because now that person's why they allowed to see their own way to achieve that goal, right?
Yes.
They use their unique talents to achieve that goal. I think we think about why should we have performance management discussions? I should really only have it when Jason's doing bad,
Right.
right? And that is the most ineffective way. Jason should know far in advance that what's happening is not good, right? We shouldn't be having that during performance coaching. Performance management is all about here are the things that you're doing well. Let's reinforce that. Let's celebrate that. Let's find a more unique approach to that. To your point, let's find a unique approach to accomplish the end result.
Yes, and it's that end result. I think that it's a unique, intentional end result, which really kind of makes up a leadership. And I think that's I love this topic, and it really, to be honest with you, I could probably do a whole podcast.
Me too. I love
do.
it.
I know we do have a couple others we want to connect with, and I love this next one because reconnecting with clients. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that NADA research that just recently came out about CPRO counts, which it doesn't surprise me, by the way, what's going on, but I'll let you share. I won't. I won't spill the beans, but I still think as an industry we use the word retention. I actually like the word reconnect actually better than the word retention because I think we actually use it incorrectly, and it's funny, our industry, the OEMs do such an amazing job of telling us that we're doing a great job. But if we're doing such a great job, then why are we losing customers 40 to 60% after the warranty expires? If we're really doing as good of a job as the manufacturers say we are doing, then why the second the warranty expires 40 to 60? But anyways, I'll shut up. I'll get off my soapbox. All right, Joe, I know you got thoughts on this.
Yeah, you're right on the point. Why are so many clients leaving after the warranty has expired? It's perception. It is the dealer or the dealer environment is far too expensive. They're the experts when it comes to warranty. But when I'm out of warranty, isn't it cheaper for me to go to these independent? That's why independent dealers are growing at the rate they are, is because the perception is they're less costly. So when we think about reconnecting with our clients, we need to think less about the ROI on it, but more about what that client experience is like when they come back, when they're out of warranty, or when they haven't been to your dealership in 12 or 18 months or 18 to 24 months. It's telling you a story.
Yeah, it is.
right? So we want to make sure when we reconnect with a client that they get the experience we intend them to have. And guess what? When they get that experience that we intend them to have, because we listened to what their needs are and we delivered on it, that builds retention. More importantly, that builds loyalty, right? And
Real
that
loyalty, not the
real,
loyalty that the manufacturers like to report on,
exactly
because manufacturer loyalty is more ego driven than I think any other number out there. Because every manufacturer, by the way, is the most loyal. It blows my mind. Anyways, you won't find a manufacturer to say they're number two in loyalty. Um, it won't exist, right? Everybody's got to be
right.
number one. Sorry. Anyways, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so when we think about how Traver connects those dots, experience matters. John talks a lot about that, right? Theirs, yours, and ours. So the experience is for the customer. How easy is it to make an appointment? How many times do I have to call the dealership to connect with
Convenience. Yeah.
somebody who can give me the answer? And
Yes.
then how easy is it for me to make the appointment? For the dealer, we're thinking about this in terms of, let's call it the book suppository, right? It's, hey, someone go put these books away. I think that's for someone else. What's in front of me right now is I got to handle this customer pay RO. I've got to make sure that the people in front of me matters. What happens to our phone calls? They get dropped. They get lost. And if I'm the client, it's not an easy experience. If I'm the dealership, I'm losing the connectability with my customers, and that matters. And
Hmm.
so, why does experience matter? Our experience matters because we understand how to connect those dots. We understand that the roadmap that allows you to reconnect with your customers in a more viable process is where we can step in. We can actually augment. Now, dealers have their own BDC departments. So where do we fit in? Well, there's multiple areas, but I'll speak specifically about how do we handle the off hours that you can't cover? How do we handle the development of your BDC team? How do we create the right structures? And with Traver Connect, we have that experience. How do we provide retention moves, which is a product that we have that will actually pick up and drop off for a customer? Now, I'm like you, pretty busy. Where would I rather be, in my office working or sitting in your waiting room?
Well, it goes back. It goes back to convenience, right? And you were kind of talking about that, right? If we really want to reconnect with these clients, and I love the fact that you use the word perception, because I think a lot of people have to understand out there that perception is not truth. It is someone's perception of you, their perception, not truth, right? But here's the thing: that perception is going to happen regardless if you're intentional or not, right? I mean, I don't know about you, Joe, but I've read thousands of Google reviews, right? And it always surprises me that one of the most commonly used words in every single one of those is experience. Now there might be a good or a bad to the front part of that word, right? But it's usually they sum it up into that experience and communication. I love where you're going with this because conversation, I think, is one of the most key things, right? Like, when I think about, the brands that I connect with, one of the reasons I may connect with them is just the simplicity of communication, simplicity, the convenience of it, right? It's like, I love the Domino's pizza app. In fact, actually, I'm not even a big fan of Domino's, to be totally honest with you, but there's this convenience of, like, I open it up and they're like, hey, Jay, this is what you ordered last time. You want to order the same? Yeah, I do. I hit the button. Payment's already gone through. It's telling me they're prepping it. It's going through the oven. It just went in the bag. It's in the car. It's talk about, I can get, honestly, Joe, we got to think about that for a second. Actually, this is really kind of funny. I get more communication, all right, from a pizza place than I do when I get my vehicle put in for service. Let's just put that into context real quick. like when I drop my keys off at the dealership, it goes into this black pit, and what the hell is going on and when it's going to be completed. Well, but
And
they think the pizza is going to arrive here in 15 minutes. Anyways, go ahead, Joe.
exactly. And to your point, right? When you think about the reasons most people call later in the day, you already know the answer. What's the status update? Where's
Yeah.
my card? It went through the black void. Where are we in the process? And of course, the advisor's really busy, the service manager's really busy, the teams are really busy, and yet you as another client are trying to call in to make an appointment and no one's available, or for that matter, it goes through this phone channel chain and I get a myriad of options or prompts and it's clunky. Or I'm trying to make an appointment through your website, which may not connect to your tools that you use at the dealership level. Here's where we can provide support and really structure a course or a direction that aligns all those dots for you uniquely, because
Yes.
not every experience is the same. Not every operator or dealership has the same issues. Maybe they got a phenomenal BDC department and they can handle the most of the calls, but they can't handle the after hours, or they can't handle the overflow. They can't, maybe they are unsuccessful at scheduling on the actual scheduler for the
Sure.
advisors. A lot of functionality that we can simplify. Why? Because experience does matters. And that's where ours comes in.
Hmm. No,
So
it is, and that's why they call you Coach Joe, right?
I hope so.
You
Yeah,
got that experience, the one of the other things I did want to kind of talk about, because we did have this kind of written down too, was clients who's not been at our store since the last warranty service, right? And this, I think this is common. Like this is probably one of the most common marketing campaigns I've ever had a service department ask me to create, right? It was like, hey, I got a client, but they're like a C-level client. Like, I saw them once when they bought
right.
the car. I saw them, twice more because of a recall or a warranty issue, and I don't think as an industry we ever do relatively a good job of really kind of, again, over overcoming the perception that they should service with us. But I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on this, because I know this is an epidemic issue for everybody out there. We all deal with this on a regular basis, right?
I think the first thing, if I might, is the dealer has to define, does that really matter? Do
Okay,
those
good point.
existing customers matter? Or are they just a financial statement result 4 months ago or 8 months ago or 2 years ago? They were revenue then, but they're no longer revenue now. It goes beyond revenue, right? Because that experience with today's ability to connect through social media, that experience is like having 50,000 branches instead of the traditional five. I know 20 people, right? And those 20 people will tell five people if the experience is bad. Now they can tell hundreds, if not thousands, of people through social media. So, first, define if that's important to you. Second is how you're going to approach that database. How are you going to use it to benefit the customer experience and ultimately create that loyalty? When you have those clearly defined, there are methodologies and approaches that we can take that will allow us to connect with those customers, literally put them on your schedule based on your capacity, based
Yes.
on your need at the dealership level, put them on your appointment and drive revenue, right? We don't write the repair order, we don't recommend the services, but we can put them in your driveway and we can reconnect the
Mhm.
customer to you.
What an amazing experience.
But you have to define those things. And then ultimately you have to say, what's more important? If I bring Jason back, is what's more important to me as a dealer? It's how much money I make off of Jason. Then guess what happens to Jason's experience next time? It's
Well,
non-existent.
it is. It's totally non-existent, and that stays with me for a long period of time, right? Like I love the fact that you've used the word loyalty a lot during this podcast, because it's, even though it's a word that is used in our industry, it's not used a lot. We like to use the word retention or conquest or something like that, because I think loyalty is. Here's the thing: someone's not loyal to you just because they service with you doesn't mean they're loyal. All right. And I'll explain this, because I'm a perfect example of this. All right. I have a Nissan dealership just up the street from me. All right. I service there. Why? Because it's convenient. It's right up the street. There is nothing they do that makes me loyal. In fact, if I was to move 8 more miles down the road, there's not a chance in hell I would go to them. All right. There's nothing that they have done. All right. In fact, I think most of the time they barely meet the expectation, not exceeded in any way. But you know what I mean? Like the only reason I go there is just because like I know there's a coffee shop right next door to it. All right. I can drop the car off. I can go over there. I can work for a couple hours while I get the thing serviced, and then I'm done. Right. But it's like they haven't done anything to actually make me loyal. Now, I might look like I'm a loyal customer on their database if they were actually to go run my thing. All right. But that's not loyalty. Loyalty, all right, is that customer. I remember Mr. Johnson, all right, who passed 3 freaking dealerships on the way to come see me, all right, because I was his guy. I'd show up, he tossed the keys, didn't even ask me what the hell needed to be done to it. He just knew that I was going to take care of the car. Right? But I'd love to kind of get your thoughts because I think as an industry, we don't like how do we create real loyalty, not just convenience? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, we create real loyalty because of the point you made at the very end. I came there, Mr. Johnson came to see you because you are his person, right?
Trust. Yes.
And so when you think about that, it's the experience you create for your team member. You know, we use the reference so loosely, they're my employee, they're subservient. Well, the reality is they're not. They're team members and they're a part of a team that delivers on the results, right? We only look at that byproduct as our measurement for success. Did it create financial statement,
Yes.
profitability? But the reality is, loyalty is I have to go and see this advisor because when I'm with this advisor, let's call him Justin, just for
Sure.
this example. When I go see Justin, the reason I go see Justin because I trust him, because we have
Yes.
a relationship, because he can present 3 things to me or 5 things to me as an item for recommended services, and I trust him. And I'm going to go, you know what? Is that the right thing to do, Justin? And Justin's going to say yes. To
Yeah.
keep your car operating the way it's designed, Joe, that's what you need to do. And when I say yes, it's not because of the price and it's not because of that dealership. It's because of Justin, right?
No,
People,
you're 100% right. And in fact, actually, I have a guy. His name's Derek. I have an older Mercedes E63 that's tuned up a bit, and let's just say it's a bit of a powerhouse. But anyways, like I have Derek. I dropped the keys off of Derek. He doesn't even call me to tell me what it is. All right, I just know that when I get him, if it's $150 bill or if it's a $1,500 bill, he did it because he just knows I am going to go drive out of this car and I will break something and I'll bring it back to him again for it. And,
yeah, right.
you know what I mean? I have that level of trust with him that what needs to be done, he will do. You know what I mean? And it's amazing to have that relationship.
I'll give that true story. My wife has 2 Volkswagens. One is an '05. It's a Volkswagen Beetle convertible.
Yeah.
She's only taken it to our local VW expert, independent here in town.
Yeah.
She's has a 2017 Beetle that she's purchased. You know what? She's never once taken it to a VW store. You know where she takes it? Her guy.
Well, why not? Because she trusts that
Her
person.
guy.
There's
And
just whatever it needs, it needs. That's it. They're just
and that's exactly what she says to me. Whatever it needs, it needs. He tells me how much it is. Wow. Talk about loyalty. Talk about, you
Mhm.
know, the experience. I notice you have an Under Armour shirt on, right? If
About
you're
16.
loyal to that, it is because of it's delivering on your what is valuable to you. Maybe that's look, feel, style, whatever it is, it delivers it. That's my wife's experience with her VW. It doesn't matter where this independent dealer is because we got to drive 35 minutes to get there. She'll go there, she'll drop it off.
Oh yeah, I do the same. I'll be coming back from maybe a race or a car weekend, and I knew I maybe been pushing a little hard or something. I'll leave it for him for the week. I'm
That's experience, that's
something
loyal.
something's pulling on the right, Derek. I don't know what I did or what I ran over, but can you look at it? Can you look at it?
Right.
He's not even home. I'm already tossing the keys in his garage.
And that's the power of loyalty. And that's what we need to create at the auto dealership
Yes.
environment, is that loyalty. And I know it exists. There are a lot of
It does. Of course it
phenomenal
does.
operators. There's a lot of phenomenal fixed ops directors, service advisors, there are phenomenal people in this business, and where people really care about other people. I think the challenge is, how do we create that connection with your existing customers, bring them back to you where you can deliver your unique value proposition to your customer. That's the key.
You're so right. That is the key, right? It's being able to kind of consistently, execute. I think the processes that are required to get to a place where you can build trust, and that trust ultimately ends up in loyalty. And it should be the objective. I think if you're out there and you're watching and listening to me and Coach Joe talk about this, it's like, guys, we're not talking about this like this is being a good idea. Like, no, this is the objective, right? This is the mission. All right. All right. Just because your OEM is telling you're in the top 10 of retention numbers does not mean that your customers are loyal. Trust me. Look what happens. How many people are dropping off when the warranty expires. That'll really tell you what if you've been putting in the effort to create the trust that will thus actually create the loyalty. Look, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our conversation, and Joe, I feel like I can jam about these topics: leadership, reconnecting with the customers, getting into warranty stuff. I could do this for a long time, but I know before we go, Joe, I think for everybody out there watching and listening who maybe want to continue some of this conversation, because I still think there's a lot to talk about here. What's the best way to connect with you so they can do so?
Yeah, the best way to connect is through my social media, LinkedIn, of course. You can certainly connect with me through Traver Connect. How convenient is that? But certainly connect with me through Traver Connect or on LinkedIn, on all social media. I'm not on Facebook, but I am on LinkedIn, and that's probably the best way to connect.
Joe, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time, your expertise, and just your passion, man, for this industry. This has been a really, really fun conversation, and I thank you a lot for taking the time. Hey, for everybody out there watching and listening, if you want to do me and Joe a solid, all right, the biggest compliment you can give us is share the show. All right. If you got a friend or a service manager or anybody in the industry that thinks is going to get some value, from listening from this, that is the largest commitment or largest compliment you can ever give us is share the show. Hey, Joe, thank you again so much for taking the time to jam with me. This has been a lot of fun. Everyone, have yourself an amazing day.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.